it's Anya here. I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks, and today we are making a pincushion. So I have my darning needles, which I use to sewing the ends, and I'm always looking for them. I've got them on a piece of cloth, and it's just difficult to get them out. You have to use both hands to put them on. So I thought, what if I designed a little pincushion that sort of stands on its own? You can easily take the needle out and back in with one hand. And if you're sort of set up on the sofa or in your craft corner for doing crochet, then you can just put that there and it's there ready for you to use. Now it is quite a simple design, and I think, you know, very effective. I have decorated it with slip stitches just to give it a little bit more of you know, of a sort of decorative look. Here I did just this little flower thing in the middle. Here I just did some more slip stitches. Now before we get started on what we need and how we're going to make this, I would also like to tell you about the box that I made for this pincushion, just in case if you were thinking of making this as a present. See, so in the next video you will be able to find out how I made this box, and you will also be able to make it and then give this little pincushion as a present. So what do you need for this pincushion? I have used King Cole Cotton Soft. I bought this range a while ago. I've been using it for several things. I really like this. It's 100% cotton and it's not mercerized, so it's matte. And yeah, I like working with it. It's a very good cotton. I also use it for face pads and things like that. So it's a DK thickness, but I am still going to use a 3, which is quite a small hook for DK, but I want my pincushion to be nice and tight and no holes to be sort of seen, so that your needle just doesn't fall through basically. So that's the cotton that I'm going to be using. Also you need some stuffing. This is toy stuffing, which I buy you know, sort of locally, but I'm sure you can order that online as well. And of course some scissors, and yes, a darning needle. Right, okay, let's get started with a magic circle. I've got the end of my yarn in my hand like this. I make a cross over my 2 fingers like this. Then I take my hook, I go under this strand here, I pick up the back strand, you twist it towards you and you bring it through like so. You twist it and you go back to that back strand to do a chain. Then you can take your fingers out of your magic circle, and now you're going to be working over these 2 strands here, and you are going to do another chain. Now I chain up 2 for my double crochets. If you chain up 3, then please do so. We are now going to do 12 double crochets into the circle. Well, I do 11, and my 12th V will be the slip stitch that I do over this chain here. Oh dear. Right, some yarn came out of my ball here, and generally what you need to do, I might as well just, you know, give you some tips on what to do when this happens, is not pull, just gently undo it and you will see that it will come undone. Okay, so that's quite a lot of yarn already that I've got there. There we go, we can get on with that. Okay, so I have now done 2 double crochets and that chain will be counting as my last double crochet, so I'm just going to continue doing 11 double crochets. In the UK they are called treble crochets, and the way you do them is you yarn over, insert into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through the other 2 loops on your hook. And that is how you are going to continue doing your 11 double crochets, and we will get to the end and then I will make my 12th double crochet by doing a slip stitch over that chain. Right, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and this is my 11th one. So that's the one I am going to use to put my slip stitch under. So I'm going to close the loop, and I'm going to go under the 11th one. I was counting them again there. Always good to count again. And that is going to make, close the circle a little bit more, my 12th V. So you now have a circle with 12 V's going around the edge of your work. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there's no skipping any or anything like that. So now we're going to chain up 2. This chain is going to be the last stitch of our round. So that's going to be the second double crochet in this stitch, but of course we can't go this way, we have to go this way. So we are just going to ignore this chain for now, and we are going to place 2 double crochets in each stitch around. So you are going to go under both legs of the V. So let me just do these two. Look, this is what it looks like. So you yarn over, you pick up both legs of the V, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you do the same thing again, yarn over into that same stitch, and you do your second double crochet. So in theory, well, in reality as well, we had 12 V's going round the edge of our work. Now we are going to go and create 24 V's. Now you'd say, oh, you know, it's not all that important if I miss a stitch. It is, because you are going to have to make 2 of these circles here, and if you don't make them the same, then when you come to putting them together, you'll have a stitch more or less on one side, and that will create problems when you are stitching them together. So just a little moment of counting here will help you when you are actually putting your pincushion together later on. So I just quickly check to see that I have 2 stitches in each stitch around. And yes, I've still got my little bit of yarn problem here, but it's okay. Right, so let's continue and let me finish this round. There we go. So now we are at the end of the round. This is the last V of the round. As you can see, we've already got this chain coming out. That is our last stitch. So all we need to do here is put in another, that was too far I think, yeah, put in another double crochet. Now we are going to use this one as our second double crochet, and this here, this V here. So we're missing the 2 chains that we have done. This V here is going to be the one under which we are going to do the slip stitch. And this now means we have 24 V's going around the edge of our work. We are now going to do a third round. So we are going to chain up. Again, disregard this chain for now. Let's get started on here. And we are going to do a ratio of increase of doing 1 stitch in the first stitch, then in the next stitch we are doing 2 stitches. So if you are curious about how this increasing works, I have a video, I will link it below, about scared stitches. So if you're doing a big project and you're increasing, that will help you enormously. So here we are. I've done 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and that's how you are going to continue all the way until you get to that last stitch here, and I will see you there. I am now ready to do my last stitch, and yes, indeed I have to do 2 in here because I did 1 in the last stitch, in the previous stitch. So there we go. I've done my first one, the second one is there, and I am going to 1, 2, yeah, go under the V like that and do the slip stitch. So this now is your back. So you can cut this off and put it to the side, and I have already done that. Look, so this is my back, and I have also put some decorations on it already. So I will show you how to do the decorations in a moment, but so you need 2 pieces like this. So 1 plain circle and 1 circle with the little shells on it. So that's what we are going to create at the moment. So you'll have to start again to have your second circle. So when you're ready for your little flower petals, you are going to skip 2 stitches, and in the 3rd stitch, yarn over, you are going to do 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, all in the same stitch, 4, oops, and 5. Then you are going to skip 2 stitches and you're going to do a slip stitch. Okay, same thing again, 1, 2, into the 3rd one, you are going to do 5 double crochets, okay, how many is that? 2, 4, yeah, 5. And then you skip 2 stitches and you do a slip stitch, and a slip stitch is just insert, pull up a loop, and that loop you pull through the loop on your hook. There we go. And I have 2 petals. So I'm now going to continue like that to the end of my round. So at the end of the round, I'm putting my last slip stitch in, and as you can see, it doesn't really lie flat, but that's fine because we want that sort of bulgy thing later on. Okay, so I'm now going to cut off this yarn, and the best thing to do is to sew in this end, because that way it's out of the way and then it looks nicer. So I am going to go under this stitch here to create an invisible end, and then back into the last loop there. There we go, see, and then you can't even tell which one was your last stitch, and then I sew it in towards the back. There we go. And then also here, pull your magic circle a little bit more and sew in the end so it doesn't come undone anymore. I just go around in little loops like this. There we go. I mean, you could have done this a little bit further, but obviously I'm just doing it. There we go. Now it is time to decorate this. And here I've used yellow and purple, but I think I might just use this one here. Yeah, let's use this one to sew them together. Let's use the blue one for one of the circles here. Okay, we've got the blue. And what I tend to do is, let me just show you. So we're going to use the outer one to crochet them together, so the inner one we need to do. So I go in with my hook in between the two posts, 2 bodies of the stitches, and I bring up a loop. Then I turn it over with my hook in situ and I knot it, because otherwise it's not connected at all. So I give it a good pull as well, so it's knotted around my hook, and this size of my hook is big enough, so of my loop is big enough. So there we go. Now I am going to go in between the next 2 bodies of stitches, and I am going to do a slip stitch. Make sure your knot does not come out. See, can you see it's coming out there? That's fine, we can deal with that later, but keep an eye on it. So there we are. So now we are doing slip stitches. So I am inserting my hook at the top between 2 stitches. I'm bringing up the yarn and I'm just pulling it through the loop on my hook. And they call this surface slip stitches, and I just think it's a nice effect. It's very simple, very easy to do, and I just think it gives a nice colour contrast if you use various colours. You don't have to do this, you can just make it plain and not decorate it, you know, so, or you could sew something on like I did here. No, it's the one in the box. Like I did here, I just, you know, did that little star. I liked it, I thought it would look good. I just did that quickly and that was that. So, or what you could also do, if you're making this for someone and you know, obviously you'll know their name, so you could put their initial on. And I thought that would be, you know, nice when you're making this as a present, because that personalizes it for them. So here we go. We now have the last one to do. I am not going to do this with the crochet hook. I'm pulling it up, cutting it off, and I am going to do this with my needle. Doing it like that will ensure that you can't tell, you know, it'll be invisible. So what you're going to do is go under the 2 bits of that first stitch, pull it tight, then go into the last loop that you've got there and down to the other side. And there you go, look. And that little knot has come out, so I'm just going to pull that gently. There we go. And it's gone. So, sew in the end, and you're ready for the next circle. I shall just do that quickly and I will be back. So I have my 2 parts ready that I need for my pincushion. I also have my stuffing ready and I have my colour ready, for which I am going to use for crocheting them together. So what we are going to do is the following. You take your piece with the petals. Against that you are going to put your piece with your without petals, so the back, and make sure that the pretty side is on the outside. So of both sides. So this time we are going to do the same thing as before. So we are going to do the surface slip stitches, but each time we are going to make sure we also pick up the stitches here. Okay, so you pick up both V's each time as well. Okay, so let's get started. We insert in between the stitches here. You find a V on your other piece to go under, like so. Then you take your yarn, you hook it over and you bring that through both. Yep, there we go. And then you hold on to this, because we'll work that away later on. Then we are going to start slip stitching. So you go in between the 2 bodies of the next 2 stitches. Then you find here the next stitch and you bring the loop through and you make a slip stitch. Same thing again, in between here, and find the V, go under it, pull up a loop and do your slip stitch. Okay, so into the next and so on. So you're going to do this sort of like 3/4 of the way round, and then of course you're going to have to put in your stuffing. So make sure you stay nicely at the edge of your circle here, so you create a nice edge, And then here you will just have these little stitches coming out there. So I will see you when you have done, like I said, sort of about 3/4 of the way round. And keep tallying up your stitches. Make sure you don't skip any, because obviously this is where it's going to be important that we have the same amount of stitches throughout our work. I've gone around 3/4 of the way. I've still got a little bit of an opening here, so I'm going to stuff in some of my stuffing. Now, I tried first of all to put the stuffing in a cotton sort of pocket and then put it in, but the thing is you then can't get your needles in so easily, so the best thing to do is to do it without any sort of cotton lining, and the stuffing is not going to come out, so that's fine. There we go, see? And by doing this, you know, you now have sort of these petals standing up and it's sort of lying a little bit like this, you know, it's sort of tumbling around a bit and it will stay upright. So I'm now going to continue with my slip stitches, but I'm thinking it's looking good. See you in a moment. And we're at that last one again. Again, the same thing. You don't do it with your crochet hook, but you sew it so it looks like it's in a sort of invisible end. You make it look exactly the same. There we go. So under the first one, and do be careful because this one will come out because we've got it hanging out on the other side there. Okay, so we're just making a fake one here, and straight away I'm just going to go and sew it into my pincushion there. There we go, and the end is gone. And now this is what I'm going to do with this one as well. So thread it onto your needle and bring it into the pincushion like so, pulling it maybe just a little bit. Yeah, there we go, so it's the same size as the other ones. And there you have it. Our pincushion is finished. There we go, see? And like I said, if you're making this for a present, it would be nice if you had a nice box to gift it in, and that is what we are making in the next video. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.